Right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to walk step by step through a professional troubleshooting sequence to fix those absolutely maddening gas boiler pressure drops. Look, if you're tired of paying a plumber, $150 an hour just to diagnose a really simple heating issue, you are in exactly the right place. We're bringing the insider expertise straight to you, giving you that pragmatic, technically accurate roadmap you actually need to maintain this system yourself. Man, we have all been there. It is literally the ultimate nightmare scenario. It's the dead of winter, you wake up freezing, you stumble down into your utility room, and you find your boiler pressure gauge has just flatlined, completely dropped into the red zone. And honestly, the most frustrating part, you just topped off the pressure last week. You know the system shouldn't be losing water, and yet, here you are, resetting the boiler all over again. So let's figure out exactly why this keeps happening, and more importantly, how you can put a stop to it permanently.
Okay, here is our expert diagnostic roadmap for today. We'll cover the fatal feeding mistake, the expansion tank secret, sneaky mechanical leaks, the worst-case scenario, and finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate pro fix. Let's get your system back online.
Section 1, the fatal feeding mistake. Stop killing your boiler with this massive error. If you browse DIY forums across the internet, you'll see the single biggest mistake capable homeowners make is treating their boiler like it's a thirsty houseplant. When that pressure drops, our immediate human instinct is to just open the fill valve and give it a nice big drink of raw tap water. But doing this is fatal to your system. See, raw tap water introduces fresh oxygen and hard minerals into what's supposed to be a closed loop. That oxygen, it literally causes your steel panel radiators and your pipes to rust from the inside out. Meanwhile, those minerals build up and create a rock-hard fatal scale inside your heat exchanger. If you just keep feeding the beast fresh water, you will absolutely destroy that heat exchanger in just a few short seasons. We have to actually find the leak, not just mask it with more water.
Section 2, the expansion tank secret, the culprit you need to check first.
80%. I really want you to lock that figure in your head, because an astonishing 80% of all boiler pressure loss cases come down to one single hidden component failing, the expansion vessel. Honestly, before you even think about tearing up your beautiful radiant floor heating to find a busted pipe, you absolutely must check this component.
So what's going on inside that metal tank? Well, there's a heavy-duty rubber bladder in there, usually filled with nitrogen or just regular air. Its entire job is to compress and compensate for the physical expansion of your system's water as it heats up. But here is the insider secret. It's got a Schrader valve on it. That is the exact same type of valve you have on your car tires. And, just like a car tire slowly loses air pressure over the years, your expansion tank naturally loses its air charge. When that air is gone, the expanding water has nowhere to go. The pressure violently spikes, your safety valve dumps the excess water, and then, when the whole system cools back down, yep, you guessed it, you are left completely in the red zone with zero pressure.
All right, so the crucial part here is knowing exactly how to fix it, because the sequence is absolutely everything. You cannot just hook up a bike pump and start blindly pumping. First, isolate the boiler from the rest of the heating system. Second, and pay incredibly close attention to this step, you must drain the water from the boiler until the water pressure gauge reads absolute zero. Got it? Zero. Third, take a standard tire pressure gauge and a car or bike pump and pump the air side of the tank up to about 17 to 21 psi, which is roughly 1.2 to 1.5 bar. Only after you have firmly established that air pressure do you move to step 4 and refill the boiler with water. I literally cannot emphasize this enough. Trying to pump the air side while the system is full of pressurized water does absolutely nothing. Follow this specific sequence and you just saved yourself a very, very expensive service call.
Section 3, sneaky mechanical leaks. Diagnostics for invisible drips and hardware failures. If the tank is fine, the primary suspect becomes the micro leak. I hear this from homeowners all the time. Hey, I'm losing pressure, but my floors are completely dry. What gives? Well, that's because a gas boiler system is incredibly hot. Water can be leaking drop by drop out of a loose fitting, but you will never, ever see a puddle. Why? Because the second a drop of water hits a pipe running at, say, 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, it evaporates instantly into the air. Boom, gone. The only evidence left behind is a very faint white salt residue on the pipe. So how do the pros find them? It's called the toilet paper test. It turns out your absolute greatest diagnostic tool is sitting right there in your bathroom right now. Just grab a single square of totally dry toilet paper, run it over every single union fitting, check closely around all your isolation valves, and carefully wipe it around your radiant heating manifold connections.
See, your fingers are naturally oily, so they often can't feel a micro drop of hot water. But that ultra-dry tissue paper, it will instantly spot, absorb, and visibly show microscopic moisture, leading you right to that one pesky loose nut that just needs a quick tightening. It is a brilliant, totally free hack. Now, let's look at two notorious hardware components that cause hidden pressure loss: the auto air vent and the pressure relief valve, or the PRV. The auto air vent is supposed to just bleed trapped air out of the system, right? But the internal float frequently gets jammed up by dirty system water, which causes it to spit out actual water instead of air. The fix is pretty simple. Look at the little cap, which is usually right there on your boiler pump. If that cap is covered in a white or rusty, nasty crust, it's leaking and it needs cleaning or replacing. Then we have the PRV. Its one job is to dump water if the system pressure exceeds 45 psi, to prevent a literal explosion. But here's the catch. If it pops open even just once, a single tiny grain of sand often gets stuck under the rubber seal on its way back down. That creates a constant, totally invisible drip out of the discharge pipe. To fix this one, go find the pipe leading outside your house, check if it's dripping, and try flushing the valve by manually snapping the red cap open and shut. Do it hard to dislodge the debris. If that fails, well, the valve has to get replaced.
Section 4. The worst case scenario. The most expensive failure in the system.
Okay, I want you to ask yourself this exact diagnostic question because it's a big one. Is your boiler pressure dropping significantly only while the burner is actively firing, but remaining totally stable when the system is off and cold? This is exactly how you test the core of your boiler without having to dismantle a single piece of the metal casing. If your answer to this question is yes, you have a very serious problem on your hands.
A yes to that question points directly to a micro crack in the primary heat exchanger. And the physics behind why this is so deceptive is actually kind of fascinating. When the metal of the exchanger heats up and expands, that microscopic crack opens up. The pressurized system water leaks directly into the raging hot combustion chamber. It instantly flashes into completely invisible steam and safely vents straight up and out the chimney flue. You will never, ever see a puddle on your utility room floor, but your system will bleed pressure rapidly every single time it runs. Honestly, this is the most expensive failure, and it usually requires a heat exchanger replacement or just an entirely new boiler. But look, knowing how to diagnose it yourself means you aren't paying a technician to stand there scratching their head for 3 hours just to tell you the exact same thing.
Section 5, the ultimate pro fix. Never deal with pressure drops again. All right, the absolutely crucial takeaway from this entire explainer is this. Those tiny, flat expansion tanks built directly into modern wall-hung boilers, they are notoriously undersized and highly prone to failure. If yours just keeps dying, stop replacing it with the exact same tiny, expensive factory part. The ultimate pro insider secret is to simply pipe in a standard, much larger external expansion tank and mount it right there on the wall next to your boiler. You want to size it so it holds about 10% of your system's total water volume. It is way cheaper, vastly more reliable, and incredibly easy for you to maintain yourself. Do this and you will effectively bulletproof your heating system. You absolutely have the knowledge now to take control and fix your boiler, but it really begs a bigger, kind of scary question. If the manufacturers are cutting corners on the most vital part of your heating system, what other hidden plumbing disasters are just waiting to fail in your basement right now? Something to think about. Until next time, stay curious and keep those systems running perfectly.